We're Dada Life, and we're here with Future Music in our studio in Stockholm, and we're gonna walk through our track One Smile.
Rolling. So this is our new single One Smile, and this is how it started. This is how it started.
We actually made this before the track, and it's my smile. So now we're gonna walk through the whole track with you guys. The track consists of two parts. It's like one, the break part, which is kind of filterish thing, and then it's a drop. Easy.
Really original.
Yeah, easy. But
Actually, one thing you can show, Stefan, is like if you're zooming out.
oh yeah,
Maybe everybody works like that. We don't know, but that's how we work it. With all the different edits, we just line them up in the arrangements. So it's like a radio edit, maybe like extended edit, whatever edit, instrumental edit. And if we make like small changes in the EQ, whatever, they happen on all the edits automatically.
So do you make the edits before it's the final tweak? So like for what instance, what happens if
ideally we make the edits the last. We always try to make the extended version first, like the one we play at clubs, and then when we think it's like, oh, now it's done, we copy it out
and make the other edits.
But it's never the last version. We always
it's
go
never
back
done.
And it's like it's a hustle.
So
but
do you use automation if, say, like the radio edit, the radio says, oh, the vocal needs to be pushed up a bit, or
no,
we usually do that in mastering, or just have the mastering guy to like raise it up, because we separate it. But we still want to know how it sounds, so we still need to do the edit, properly and mix it properly. And so that's how we do it. And I mean, like, our edits aren't that. I mean, they're not that easy. You can't, shop in the WAV or whatever. It's too little details and stuff that needs to be fixed in a proper arrangement. So that's how we do it. And then so it's like 20 minutes of music, and it's all the 3 or sometimes 4 or 5 edits in one arrangement.
And the good part is because when you bounce it, you just mark the whole thing.
And you go have a pizza.
Yeah, and then it bounces for 1 hour, and you come back and it's done.
And it crashed. You come back and the computer crashed.
Yeah, you're gonna see that during this video. It's gonna crash a lot. That's kind of the way it goes towards the end with our arrangements, because towards the end you get a little bit lazy and you just start adding stuff. It's like, oh, I'm just gonna add a little bit EQ here, and you pull out a whole new EQ, and then it's like, oh, maybe we fix a little bit here, and then you add more and more stuff, and it just crashes.
Yeah, the last days of finishing a track is like a race against the computer crashes. And the computer crashers just win all the time, unfortunately.
Yeah. So this is the break part.
But it actually didn't start with a vocal, of course. So the whole idea of the track started with the Talkbox.
Yeah. Okay, so this is the first idea that we had. Gonna keep you hanging there.
But it actually didn't start with that either, to be honest. I mean, musically it started with a Talkbox melody. The melody and the words came at the same time, actually. But if you take it like how it really started, it started with us wanting to do a happy track, because there's a lot of tracks that are really good out now, but they're always banging and hard, and we love those tracks too.
But you get kind of
not bored, but it's like we just wanted to take up the challenge to make something that you get really happy and smiling about, because it's so hard to make happy music to sound, not to sound cheesy.
Yeah.
So we just, we always want to challenge ourselves. We just took up the challenge for ourselves to make, let's try to make something that you want to run out, buy an ice cream and smack in the head of someone. That's the feeling we were after this time. And, what's happier than a Talkbox?
So this is...
One smile, we will give you all night. All you need is one
It's
smile.
Stefan.
We will give you all
me
night.
singing.
All you need is one smile. We will give you all night. All you need is one smile. We will give you all night.
And we're gonna show you how to do it, but later. So that's the Talkbox. And then I'm gonna mute the vocal so you can hear. We also kind of like summerish vibe to it, with all the like the chords filtering with an envelope on the filter, and filtering both the drums and the chords and the guitar. I'm gonna show you how we did. So this is just like...
I mean, the whole idea actually started with that melody, those words, and this chord progression. That's how we started. We didn't have any, we didn't know how it would sound. We just felt that, we wanted to make it like a happy song, like a happy summer song, sort of, but in a non-cheesy way. And then we felt like, yeah, it needs filtering. I mean, like, filtering is essential to summer. It's like ice cream and filtering. And beer.
And it's so simple to achieve this filtering effect. It's just like, let me see how we did it on this one.
It's so easy, let me see.
Because either you trigger it by envelope or you have an LFO. On this one, we did it by LFO. Because in these days, there's too little LFO on the filters. People just use them and go straight, but you can go straight but still have it moving a bit, and that's... You get a groove in the whole thing. I added the auto filter, and then on this side you have a thing called LFO, and it's normally down on 0. But when you pull that one up and you press here to get it notation, and then just add it. I can play it and remove it. You see. Now it's just straight.
It's flat, it's boring, I want to sleep.
Do you want to sleep now?
I want to buy ice cream. It just makes it a little bit more livelier or whatever.
And then together with the beat, same thing here. It's just like... It's just a filter on it. But those two together... Boom. It's like... Yeah. Happy ice cream.
You're gonna hear that word a lot of times during this interview. But I mean, actually, I think it's an important point to make. It's actually... It's harder to make happy music than it is to make melancholic or sad or hard or like tough music. Especially if it's non-cheesy. I mean, we think it's non-cheesy. Maybe people disagree. I don't know.
Hate on us, but
I don't care.
we want a big smile. And then to make it even more like summer and happy, we added a guitar. It's Olle playing. To make it a little bit more, can I say organic?
No.
And that's pretty much it for the break. And then we just added a bass that comes halfway through to just fill it up.
Doesn't do anything, it just fills up the harmonies.
Like here.
But actually, I mean, the chords are pretty, I wouldn't say complicated, but there's a lot of sounds in one. I mean, if you want to,
Yeah, okay.
You can show the chord. It's basically bass.
I'm gonna mute the LFO so you can hear how the chords sound just by themselves.
Yeah, actually made of several sounds.
Like a, yeah, super distorted.
Like a fifth, or seventh.
And then
like a unison. And then we take the major and minor thirds with a detuned sound. Because if you use okay, let's not get too complicated here. But if you take a minor, I mean, if you take the minor and the major third with the detuned sound, it can sound too non-harmonic a lot of the times. So that's like a trick we've been using. You take the fifth. I'm thinking in Swedish. The fifth with a not non-detuned sound, really distorted, and it sounds good. And you can add the major or minor third with a more detuned sound. Because if you take the minor and major third with a super distorted sound, it just sounds non-harmonic because of the, as you all know, the problem with the well-tempered scales.
Yeah. Okay, and then you just bust them all out and add some like multiband compression, filtering, erosion, multiband, reverb, saturation, reverb, delay, compression, high pass, on-off EQ. It's very basic. and then actually these, as you can see, are bounced because inside those were also very long chains, and as we talked about before, crashing.
The race against the crashing. You need to start bouncing
we
stuff.
needed really started bouncing because it was going mayhem. But anyway.
Funnily enough, the effect we used most, or the plugin we used most in all our projects, was Stefan just mentioned it briefly. It's the one called on-off.
Oh yeah. I can show you. This is the best. This one. You can zoom here.
It's an empty audio rack, and it's a macro that goes to the volume.
And it goes from 0 to nothing. We use it so much because the thing is, you don't want to use this volume to control like on-offs, because you want to control the overall volume with this. So
basically a simple workaround for automation in automation. I don't know if everybody's using it, but we are using it on basically every channel.
So it's like, yeah.
So it's sort of a gain control, pre-gain control.
Yeah. But you can't use the actual gain in the one called gain in Ableton, because it goes from
0 to -15 and
something like that. I can't remember what it doesn't go to 0.
Yeah, it's weird. So we had to create this one called on-off. Yeah. I don't know. People maybe use some fancy plugins for it, but we just created this one.
Maybe you should show the whole. I mean, how it sounds without the different effects, and just add them one by one to see how it works.
Okay. And then we add the LFO filter. And then we add some multiband. Yeah. And then we add a limiter, just to get those really high transients as this multiband sometimes let through. And this filter just, I don't know, it's for a...
I think it's for like a second breakdown where we want it to be like really down low.
I actually only use this during the vocal extended version. Anyway.
Interesting.
And then we add erosion. And that one you can hear when it's...
Yeah, that's something we actually use a lot in Ableton. It's like if you have a really like a filtered out sound, it can sound a little bit too polished.
Yeah.
If you add an erosion
with a wide noise.
Well, yeah, set to wide noise and just a super tiny amount, it gets like a little analog feeling or whatever to it. So it sounds more, grittier in the end.
Yeah, and it's like...
When the filter's up, you don't hear it because it's just so little of the effect.
I can overdo it so you can hear what kind of stuff it does. I'm gonna loop this part. It's basically just a noise that adds to it, but we use, this is like 76 amount, we use 0.31.
We use 0.
If you have headphones, you can actually tell it's a big difference. And then again, we added some more multiband. Okay, and this one is just to control the lower and the mids. Yeah, we just left the top one out. And then it's a reverb, but that one uses during the build-up.
To just disappear in the background before the drop.
And then we have a saturator.
Didn't do that much.
I don't know, I think it's, let me see why we have that one there. I think that one is to just tame it a little bit more. Then it's yeah, the reverb. Then it's just Ableton's own reverb. And what we've done here is also, before the reverb, we've added a simple delay with just like 20% wet to it, just to make a little bit more complex room. But let's see.
It's like a manual pre-delay.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and then it's high pass. Then that one we use, I think, towards the end.
Just before the drop and the...
It's bypassed. Don't ask me why. Where is that on?
And we sent it to mastering last week.
Oh no, wait. Yeah, it's during the second part. And it should have been there also.
And it is sent to mastering.
Well. Yeah, that's the filtering disco thing.
I mean, those chords are a big part of the song, naturally. Maybe we'll go over to the drop.
Yeah, we can add because it's a big vocal on it also, but we can take that like a bit later, since the chorus is the main. Let me see if there's one.
All you need is one smile, we will give you all night. All you need is one smile, we will give you all night. All you need is one smile, we will give you all night. All you need is one smile, we will give you all night. All you need is one smile, we will give you all night. All you need is one smile, we will give you all night. All you need is one smile, we will give you all night. All you need is one smile, we will give you all night. All you need is one smile, we will.
Happy. And same here, the chords can't continue. But here we actually have different chords. No, not the different sounds, I would say.
This is actually like, now when I remember it.
Oh yeah.
This actually.
This is how it started.
This is actually how we started this song, sort of, together with the Talkbox. It started with this bass sound, because I just loved. We just sat tweaking with played around with a synth. It's Razer.
Yeah.
It's bounced.
So good.
It's bounced now because it crashed too much. But it's Razer, and we just love this like hard bass sound. So that's how it started. But then like in the mixing part of prioritizing which channels should shine through, etc. We had to realize that the Talkbox and the chords and the happy feeling were more important. So in the end, we couldn't make it like
just that sound by itself.
So that sound is probably gonna come back for another song, because you can't really. I mean, if you play the whole track, you hear it, but it's not like a. It's more like a detail now than a really fronted sound as we wanted to be in the beginning. Because it started with this one before the Talkbox, so.
But you can feel it. It's in there. And then it's the like detuned. Same as the Talkbox melody. And this one was actually a big challenge to have the Talkbox fit together with the whole package of chords, because it's basically the same like frequency content, and it's for us it was a big challenge to make it work.
And it's the same thing we talked about before. It's like we wanted to feel like a really happy song, but not a cheesy happy song. So it should be a hard happy song. And then you need like these hard elements of the song to shine through too. And that's like the challenge, because they all basically fit in roughly the same frequency spectrum. The chords, the bass, or whatever you call it, the wow sort of bass, and the Talkbox.
And it's also like it's fairly easy just to throw on like this big, super wide, detuned chords, but then we realized it became so cheesy that we needed the bass, this one, to make it a little bit more rougher. So we played around with some mid-side editing on that one, just to have the Talkbox shine through.
So in what way, mid-side? So you make what really mono up the Talkbox or widen the Talkbox?
It's a combination. It's like the Talkbox main sound it's dead mono, but then all like it's reverbs and delays that make it wide, because it sounds so boring when it's just in the middle. But then this, how do you call it, the racer bass, is also quite mono, so we like faked stereoed it with isotope imager, but still they conflicted like so much, so we had to fix it with some mid-side editing, and then like bunch of EQs. And for this track we actually we played it out so many times just to be able to hear at a big system what frequencies competed and whatnot. So this one we've been trying it out, like latest version, so many times. Let me see. And also here the Talkbox goes up an octave, just as you can hear when the chorus kicks in.
Super simple effects. I mean, that's like a thing we've been using from when we started making music. Is like just put it up an octave, you know, like maybe not a lead sound, but if you have a small bleep or something like that, if you put it up an octave, everybody gets happy.
And did you actually play it up an octave?
Oh yeah. Because the thing is with the Talkbox is like if you process if you would like this one, if you would just push it up an octave in the computer, all the performance and everything and the ID of a Talkbox just get lost. So we had to sing it.
And it's actually, I mean, it looks like it looks like a simple loop, and it is a simple loop, but it's actually like comped out of a full session, like you would do with, you know, recording a vocal, because it's actually recorded. The Talkbox is recorded here with a microphone, and like so many takes.
Yeah, we can open that arrangement.
And then comped like a normal vocal, just to find the ultimate loop, because it's so hard to get the. We just wanted to make the lyrics come through as much as possible, which is kind of hard because it's a Talkbox. So we just tried to, you know, or actually Stefan tried to like sing it in different ways, like all you need is one small, like all you need is one small, just trying different, you know, using overdoing the vowel sound in different ways to find the ultimate, you know, version on when the lyrics come through.
Don't you have to like sometimes say like T's as D's and things?
Yeah,
like
stuff like that.
Yeah. And then we're gonna open it later so you can see it, because that arrangement is also a mess. But let's move forward to the how do we call it? DMB. We still use it. like we did the last session with you guys, and it's just like drums and bass basically.
And I mean, like, when this project started, the bass was still, you know, in the bass.
Yeah.
You know, the one we called bass before, the Razer bass.
This one was the bass.
Yeah. But since it's like I can't remember. Since it's
it's the formant.
not the formant, the filter. Since it's pull it up so I see it. I can't remember. Yeah, the comp peak. No, it's a comp. Nej, det andra filtret. Nej.
Där har vi den.
Nej, andra.
Andra, där
Ja,
är
det.
Där, ja, kom peak.
Nej, det är till höger, det är det vi använder. Vad heter det?
Ja, kom notch.
Ja, since it's like the main whatever wow or whatever sound you want it to is made of the comp notch, it just fucks up the low frequencies so much that we had to cut it out all together and, you know, make the low frequencies in bass with another bass basically.
Yeah, you can see here that all the moving, because it's like an envelope on that com notch filter, and that movement still is like down in the bottom, which was like the bass was coming in and out in a weird way. So we had to just make the bass with.
They should have, now we're having the chance actually. They should add the feature of Razer, because they have the what's it called, the spectral that you know limits everything on top.
This one.
They should have a similar that limits everything from below
Spectral
and
clip.
sort of adding bass afterwards. That would
Yeah.
be a nice feature, at least for us.
Like-
Spectral clip is what it's called. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it likes, you know, it limits the overtones.
Okay. This is not the sound, but I'll show you what it does.
Or the partials or whatever it's called. It would be nice to have one that, you know, limits them from below and then adding the safe bass, which is basically adding a
Oscillator.
like a saw.
Yeah.
We've been using that synth a lot actually, Razer. It sounds so good and it's so easy to use, which at least for me it's really important because it's so fast. You can just do the ideas really fast.
And also, like you can do sounds that's not possible with analog gear and whatever. So it's.
And also the thing is, like, if you have a synthesizer that is or a VST that is too complicated, you tend to, not all the time, but you tend to flick through presets, find something you like, change it, and sometimes it doesn't sound at all like you started with. But that's how, you know, that's the creative process. With Razer, we usually just start with like a how to say, a blank preset and create the sound from the beginning. And that's just, you know, it's just so more fun and more rewarding for yourself too. So that's why I like it. Maybe we're just lazy with the complicated VSTs. Maybe that's how everybody uses them, but not us. But with this one, we actually use it from scratch almost all of the time.
Yeah, I would say this is fairly basic. Yeah, and this bass is actually from an old remix we did. It's just like we reused the bass in this one. It's massive, and it's just a couple of stuff going in. And it's a super wide, like overtone thing for it.
And maybe just see what different kind of drums and stuff we're adding.
Yeah. So first part of the drop.
It's just the kick and the bass. Maybe add the Razer sounds like it.
Yeah.
Can I ask if, you know what you were saying about like the happy versus sort of the evil?
Yeah.
Does that work with the drums as well? Did you have to approach the drums in a different way? Because usually the evil tracks are a little bit just more kick with a lot of reverb, snare. You know what I mean? There's less fun on the drums. Or are these still quite straight?
We'll let you decide. Are these evil or?
I mean, like,
I heard you had a loop, like a drum loop.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
a real loop.
Coming halfway.
I mean, like, after adding the Talkbox, the chords, this Razer sound, there's not that much room actually left for the drums. They're just doing their job basically.
Yeah, it's just 16th shaker and it's just like really basic.
And even, I mean, the structure of this song is also pretty straightforward because it's all about the Talkbox melody loop sound of feeling. So it's just super simple, like, you know, first filter down, introduce the melody, building the melody, drop, keep doing the melody, go down to second break, do it all over again, you know. It's nothing, arrangement is the simplest possible.
And also what we did, one thing to make it a little bit more, how to say, fun is we actually kept the guitar and just lowered it a bit, but just to have it in the drop to make something, I'm gonna use the word again, organic. No, but that's human.
Don't use the O word.
Don't use it. And here we didn't even spend time recording too, so we just put a simple delay on it. So left channel is delayed 1 millisecond, the right one is delayed 20 milliseconds, just widens it up, but it doesn't really.
And that's just a straight duplication. There's no, it's not multi-tracked.
No, it's just like one.
I think we worked on this track in the studio we rented in Los Angeles, and we recorded the guitars there.
Yeah.
But then we finished it later, so I don't think we actually had the guitar any longer, because it was a borrowed guitar. So.
And then we can show you, there's a vocal in here.
When your face is full of darkness, with the word be mine, we give it all to make you happy and leave it all behind. One smile all night, you gotta be alright. One smile all night, all aboard for a fun time. One smile, we will give you.
Yeah, and the vocal is, how do you say? It's a vocal. And what we like also is, what we used is this reverb for it. And it's, sounds really good actually, that reverb. That's why we used it.
We give it all to make you happy and leave it all behind.
It's like the lexicon.
One smile, all night, you go.
I think it is a lexicon thing anyway.
How much processing is there on the actual vocal? Is the vocals sound a bit tuned?
Yeah, but the thing is, we didn't record it here either, so usually we do that. But in this case, we worked on the track when we were in Los Angeles, and the vocalists were in Sweden. So we had some people record it for us here in Sweden. So
Send it over.
yeah, and send it over. So they you know, probably compressed it and did stuff on it too. So usually we record everything, you know, by ourselves to have full control of it, but we couldn't this time. So
And also how we produce it is like there's one lead.
We give it all to make
And then we have a dub.
We give it all to make you happy.
That's just like kind of wide together.
We give it all to make you happy.
Then it's a harmony.
One smile all night. You gonna be all
again, it's like with the
one smile all night.
as with the arrangement, it's nothing like, it's nothing straight, it's nothing complicated about the vocal on this track, and it shouldn't be. It's like Should be just simple and happy, and just
Straightforward,
move into
yeah.
the chorus and then bang, you know, like.
And then, yeah.
One smile all night. You gonna be alright.
Sort of real drum loop there as well, haven't we?
Yeah.
Like a,
I'm gonna see where that, and that one is also like really bounced down many times because we built it with like old school sample drums, like you said, real drums. But it was like a big arrangement, just this whole thing to make it sound the way it does.
sounds really organic.
Yeah, it's like and it's like tons of layering and stuff in it to make it sound the way it does. But
It's unfortunately in an old arrangement.
yeah.
And those drums aren't, I mean, that can be like said, that those drums aren't used at all in the drop. So they are like the verse or whatever you want to call it. The drop or chorus just uses different drums altogether. I think we played around with it a little bit in the beginning as we were trying to have the sound of the organic drums even in the drop, but you know, it never sounded good. So we just, you know, went with hard kick and, you know, some simple loops.
And then second break.
Happy face was all we wanted. Now let it shine. Yeah, boys and girls, it's where your heart is. Put on your biggest smile. One smile all night. You gonna be alright. One smile all night. All aboard for a fun time. All you need is one smile. We will give you all night. All you need is one smile. We will give you all night. All you need is one smile. We will give you all night. All you need
Yeah, it's not like a really.
I think it's just an arpeggio, or not even arpeggio, it's like a one note thing, I think. Just, that's not the one. No.
one smile. We will give you all night. All you
If we just add it,
smile. We will give you all night. All you need is one smile. We one smile. We will give you all night. All you need is one.
Yeah, this one we added just to make it a little bit more.
and then like for the second drop, like a huge build up, of course. And again, it's nothing.
And also here it's like it's a good way to rest from the Talkbox sound for us, because the first drop it goes Talkbox, and then you raise the octave just straight away. But here we also needed to like your brain needs to rest from the melody and just be steady for a while. That's also why we just tried it.
Yeah. And also, we can, if you play the full build-up thing, we can play. Because when making the song, we like try to have a shorter build-up. Now the computer is crashing. It's pretty long, even for the radio edit. But we still wanted it to be like, I don't know, it's like we talked about, like happy versus cheesy or whatever. It's like a way of making the song, you know, less happy and less cheesy in a way too, to make it like you rest from the melody, you rest from all the other stuff for a little while. It's a bit too long, that's what it is, and that's a good job.
And then it's just that's the same as the first one, the drop.
I don't think it's exactly the same.
What?
No. Like, as we talked about these little octave things, I think it has like a little octave bleep or something. You know.
Why no?
Whatever. It's probably it's kind of similar. All in all, it's like a really. I mean, all in all, it's a really simple song. In the way, it's like chords, Talkbox, drums, and that's it, sort of. And it's that's also how we want it to be heard.
Yeah.
But it's so complicated underneath because it's so hard, like we talked about, so hard to get all the different frequencies to fit, and the balance between making it, you know, cheesy, hard, happy, you know, the balance needs to be right. So it's like some tracks are hard to finish because they, you know, I don't know, hard to get. Because you don't really know what you want to achieve. With this one, we actually knew from the beginning exactly what we were looking for. But you know, that's a problem in a different way.
Yeah, because I said it was like it would have been easy just to add the detune chord sound and just have the Talkbox in the middle. But that's just too cheesy. And it was like, we don't want to go there. Okay, let's pull up the Talkbox.
One smile, we will give you all night. All you need is one smile, we will give you all night.
So now we morphed into the whole Talkbox arrangement, and this is a Talkbox. So what it does basically is the melody.
It's just a sawtooth, right?
Yeah. It's a little bit. It's a modified.
Oh yeah, we ended up with
from Massive, but it's basically you can put anything through it, because the magic happens in here. I'm gonna show you.
All you need is one smile, we will give you all night. All you need is one smile, we will give you all night. All you need is one smile, we will give you all night.
Yeah.
And we recorded at how many BPMs?
110.
110 to give Stefan a fair chance.
Because otherwise, it's hard.
So tell us about the things you learned when you were doing it then, because you say the shapes you have to make with your mouth and tongue aren't necessarily how you would normally speak.
No,
as we could see.
The thing is all the S and SMA, like pretty much every, how do you say, letter that's when you close your mouth to it's hard. So you need to, like, how do you say?
All the plosives.
Yeah, you need to pronounce it really weird, and you sound.
So can you give us if you don't mind, can you do it like as if you were doing it normally, and let us hear what it sounds like without you doing it extreme?
Yeah, I'm gonna try.
One smile, we will give you all night. All you need is one smile, we will give you all night. All you need is one smile, we will.
Like need, it's like that's a hard one. So that one you need to be like more like nah. But then it's, I don't know. We took so many takes of it, like.
We actually, I mean, we or Stefan learned it like the hard way, like recorded it, and you know, oh, that's sound. Now you can actually hear what he's saying. It sounds good. And then you take the WAV file and start working on the arrangement again. It's like, no, you can't. Back to the recording phase.
And then recorded, re-recorded.
So the first process is you singing a melody in your head or, you know, out loud, and then learning that on the piano, then programming that into MIDI, and then playing that back. That's the route, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We wrote the melody first, and then like.
So could we make like a little new one, a little future music one?
Oh, here's a hard one. Future music.
Future music.
F was a very hard one.
I don't know how to do this with the future music.
Yeah, it would have been more fun if that one worked.
And I mean, needless to say, or maybe not needless actually, the sound is made here in the room. It doesn't go back to the computer. So then we recorded Stefan with a Neumann U87. So we just mic'd up as a normal vocalist would be. With the compressor and everything. So that's like a normal vocal recording after that. Actually, we worked a lot on the original melody. Because first we started off with a normal sawtooth. That's like the first one, and then added like maybe another octave or overtones, and tried different versions to see how it, to make it more interesting, sort of, and then adding pitch bend and a little bit to make it more, also like more alive or more interesting. And that's just stuff that we learned during the. Yeah, remove the pitch bend just to see how it would sound.
It's a big difference when it goes. It gets a little bit more drive to it, a little more angry. And then, let me see what this is.
I remember actually when we worked on it, we tried a little bit more. Like we had complicated waveforms too, feeding the Talkbox. In the end, we ended up with this one, which is a fairly simple sawtooth with some overtones on it. But I remember trying like a complex synth too, because you were thinking like that it probably would lead to really complex and really cool Talkbox sound, but in the end, it doesn't go through. It's just too how do you say, like the overtones doesn't translate through the Talkbox sound, sort of. So it's like a half simple sawtooth now anyway. And then then we recorded like this on 110 or whatever it was, 112 BPM.
And then we actually used
comping the best take as you would with a normal audio like vocal session.
And then we actually used Isotope RX3 time stretch to stretch it to 126, because the Ableton one, the complex one, kind of ruined the overtones in it, because the Talkbox really needs to be that super sharp, and it's not I would say it's not many like time stretching
algorithms.
That's kind of like, this is the best one in RX3, and I personally think it's because it's offline. You press it and then it takes so much time, but it sounds so good.
So you recorded it slowly so you could actually physically do it?
Yeah, so you could hear.
Yeah. Try to pronounce all the different syllables.
Yeah, and also we actually tried recording it in 80 BPM, but the problem there was that it became kind of static. So when you speed it up, it just sounds like it's no groove in it. So
yeah, it's kind of funny since it sounds like a like a machine or a robot or whatever you want to call it, but there's a lot of human to it, like a human qualities that has to go through the rhythm, the way you pronounce the words.
And let me see.
Setting you use there for the RX? Is there multiple algorithms you can choose?
Let me see. I think, let's see which one we used. There's one called vocals. And then you just like from BPM to BPM. That's it.
But then you edited the vocal too.
Yeah. Before that.
So maybe you should show that a little bit too.
Yeah, because the thing is, when we recorded the whole Talkbox, it created so many weird resonance, like really short ones, and that you can't EQ out. So what we did, or what we ended up doing, was editing the whole Talkbox in RX3. Like, let's show an example.
So what you see on screen here, just explain to people that haven't seen it before what that is, roughly.
This is, how do you say, time and frequency.
And the bright there is
higher the amplitude.
The more the higher the amplitude of that frequency, the more of that frequency material.
And if I do Doesn't it work? Hang on. Where should it show? Oh, there. So here is what people normally like when you open it. This is how it looks. But then you switch to like the spectral mode of it. So basically it's like here you can see. I'm gonna play this part. How to explain it? Here is the. Here it does sound good, but you can actually hear this little frequency just peaking. It's really, really subtle, but when in Ableton later, when you add compression and distortion and everything, that little peak makes it sound not so good. So what you do is that you start editing it, like, okay, that one, and then you just start like gaining it down a bit. Maybe not removing it in full, but just take it down, because still it's like all the overtones is what makes it sound like, I say, one smile. If you take away everything, it's just a sine wave, basically. So you don't want to remove it, but you want to tame it a little bit more. So I don't know if you can hear it here, but it makes a big difference.
As you said, it makes a big difference later when you compress, EQ, overdrive, saturate. You know, maybe that's the frequency that's the one that pops out.
And then like if you have a frequency that pops out and you start adding reverb, that frequency is just gonna ding, and then it's gonna sing through. Maybe if you have a 3-second decay on the reverb, it's been like 3 seconds of a weird frequency in the mix that's non-controllable. And in the beginning, we actually started EQing it. It's be like, oh, it's something weird here. But then you just go back to the source and be like, okay, we need to fix it at source. And it took a while, but it turned out really good. So that it's a good program to do this, how do you say, advanced editing.
And is this the first track you've used that process on? Just for total of the frequency analyzing in RX?
That
you use it on vocals, haven't you?
Yeah, we use it sometimes to remove similar like resonance frequencies that you can't notch out, or that's just like on a, how do you say, just I would say 50 milliseconds of a word where something just in the voice.
Sibilance or resonance.
Because it's often you try to fix it with some multiband and you try to notch it out, but then you end up fixing it on the whole track, and it's easier just to open up RX3, remove that little thing.
But where do they come from? Space? Those irritating frequencies.
Space frequencies.
Has your master channel changed since, or do you keep things quite dry? You said you have sensitive to mastering now. Do you send stems to mastering?
Like instrumental tracks and normal tracks, we just send them minus 6 dB or whatever, so they have something to work with. But with this track, we actually sent the human vocal separate. Just because we know how it should sound at a club. But for radio, the master engineer maybe knows a little bit more, that push up the vocal a little bit more, some more preferences that we don't know. So
because we don't listen to radio. No, just kidding. It's like we always master our own stuff while working on them too. So we have versions that we can play out and try them out. And when we're happy with them, we send them to our mastering engineer and have him have a go at it. And if he makes it better than our version, we use his version. Sometimes our version sounds better.
Then we
use ours. So it's nothing like.
And does he still get paid?
Oh yeah.
He gets paid. But it's nothing.
It's no drastic thing that he does.
It's not drastic, yeah.
It's
might sound like
out.
a little bit louder or just a tiny bit more like punchy or whatever. It doesn't sound. You wouldn't hear a big difference from a.
And is there any sausage founder on this track? We didn't see any.
Yeah, it's in the bounces before everything. Because when we design all the sounds,
it's probably on each of those chords, for example, because each of the chord.
I can't show you now because it crashed.
Each of the chord instruments were, distorted in themselves, basically. So there's each of those, but
Can't show you.
And do you use it on your master ever, the Sausage Fountain? I've seen that.
Yeah.
A lot.
For the as like on our mastering, we use it sometimes.